Today we are going to talk about the 5 things that I learned after completing my first Kickstarter. I just posted this on TikTok and Instagram, like a very short, me talking very fast version. So I wanted to do a longer version for YouTube. My name is Shalana Battles. I am an indie author. Welcome if it's your first time here, or welcome back if you've been to my channel before. I'm really excited today to talk about the experience that I had with my first Kickstarter, how it went. I wanted to do a longer video about this because I think it'll help other authors and other people who are looking into Kickstarter as a way to publish books. So I leaned toward Kickstarter for the release of my newest series, the Grand Mesa Men series, because of JF Penn. I feel like I say her name at least once every video. But she's a wealth of information, so definitely check out her podcast and anything to do with Kickstarter. She's got some great resources over there and has ran some very successful Kickstarter campaigns. So when I decided to publish the Grand Mesa Men series as a whole, that's one thing that makes this unique, is I didn't just publish one book. I published 5. I wanted the whole series to come out together. Back when I started writing this series about 4 years ago, I was like, this is awesome. Like, people are not going to have to wait for the next book, blah, 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 blah. I've done a whole video about why I think that's a bad idea, because there was too much time. There was too much time between the last thing I published and publishing the Grand Mesa Men series. I should have just published like a book or 2 a year until the series was done. So I don't really recommend that. Like writing a whole series and publishing it together if it's gonna take you 4 years or more like it took me, 'cause then you just have a bunch of people waiting. That's beside the point. I just wanted to preface this video with saying that this is 5 books that I was pushing out at a time. So first thing is, you have to meet your goal on Kickstarter. So the way Kickstarter works is you set a goal, you meet the goal, and whatever money you get, they take a percentage, you get the rest. But that only happens if you meet your goal. So if you set a goal of, say, $1,000, but only raise $700, you don't get money. Now, the kind of cool thing about this is Kickstarter doesn't charge anybody until the end, until your Kickstarter closes out. So anybody can get on there and back your stuff, but they don't have to pay right that second. So, I personally told people that because I was like, hey, you can back anything you want. This isn't closing till this date. So if you need, 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, a paycheck to hit, however it comes out, you've got the time. They're not going to charge you right that second. They will charge you when the Kickstarter closes. So just know that, whatever cards you put on file. If you're doing this as a reader, if you're listening to this as a reader who wants to shop books on Kickstarter, they won't charge you initially, but the date that the Kickstarter closes, they will charge that card. So set a realistic goal. That's the biggest thing I can tell you, and this was very hard for me. I went back and forth a lot. I was like, should it be $1,000? Should it be $750? Should it be this? Should it be that? Then instead of guessing after a while, I was like, okay, let's do some math, which we writers, most of us, don't love that. But I did. I figured out which printer I was going to use. I went with 48-hour books for this project and broke it down. How much was it going to cost me to print a book? And then 48 hours makes you order 10 at a time. You can't order less than 10. Obviously, order more. So I figured that out. How much was it going to cost me to print 50 books? Because remember, I've got 5. So broke that down, figured out that number. It was very slightly under $3,000. And that was without some of the extra stuff I decided to do later on, some of the stretch goals that we met and things like that. So I set my goal to $3,000 and panicked because I really didn't think I would meet that goal. It was one of those things where I was like, okay, I think I can do this. I think this is realistic. But it wasn't a goal I would have maybe chosen for my first Kickstarter. That's why I say be realistic and don't bite off more than you can chew. I should have done one book at a time instead of all 5 at once, because I have to cover the printing cost. So it was kind of a make or break moment right there, because it was, okay, the project gets funded and these books get printed, or they don't, and then I don't print them. So that would have been really sad. And I'm really, really grateful that the project was fully funded. We exceeded our goal. It was super cool. But just know that going in. So like for my next Kickstarter, and I will do another one in August and in November of this year, knock on wood, wherever that is, if everything goes to plan. I also had a drink. Where did it go? This is worrisome. There it is. I'm like, is that just spilling somewhere on my floor? Anyways, yeah, I do plan to do 2 more this year, so I enjoyed it. But my goals will be a lot smaller because it will be 1 book. In August, I plan to do the 5th anniversary edition of Soul Jumper. And in November, I plan to do the first book, maybe first 2 books of a series that I'm working on right now, the Ash and Heart series. You might have seen some stuff on my social media about Heart of a Killer. And so we plan to do that in November. But for those books, I'll only need to set a goal of probably $500, because it's not going to cost as much to print a set of 10 of 1 book versus 5 books together. So set a realistic goal, set something you know you can meet. That's the best advice there I can give you. Number 2, you have to share this, and you have to share it a lot, and you have to share it with everyone. I was sharing this on social media. I have a social media manager, but you don't have to have one to do a Kickstarter. Just make sure it's everywhere. It's on every social platform that you have. You're texting people on your phone. I was telling everyone, family, friends, co-workers, acquaintances, ex-co-workers, and if you were in my phone contacts, I sent you something saying, please go look at this. Because that really helps. Even just them clicking on the Kickstarter, them interacting with the page, that boosts you in the algorithm and Kickstarter pushing your project out there. So encourage everyone you know, say, hey, take the 2 seconds, click on my link. If you buy something, that's fantastic. If you don't, just clicking on it helps me. So tell people that, because there'll be a lot of people in your life, and maybe they don't read, maybe they don't want this particular book, whatever, but they'll click a link for you. So definitely just get really comfortable with the idea that if you're gonna do Kickstarter, it's like marketing in warp speed. Like I had 30 days. You set your timeline for this, and so every single day you're pushing it to meet your goal. Number 3, have your stuff done before you launch your Kickstarter. Please. Like, everyone will tell you this that's ever done a Kickstarter. I'm not even gonna lie, there was a part of me that's like, I'm gonna launch this and I'm not quite where I need to be. Don't do that. I didn't do it, but don't do it. Because your Kickstarter closes, and then you have to order books and you have to ship them out to people, and I'm still waiting, not on writing things, but I'm waiting on artwork, which I should have tomorrow. Final proofs of that, and so we can go to printing and you can send out your book. So you don't want people to back your Kickstarter and it close and you be like, oh, I still have to write the rest of this book. Like, I only have an outline. They don't want to wait months or a year for your book to come out. My camera battery died, so that's why I switched locations after it was done charging, because I was sitting at my desk now doing other things. So I am going to continue and hopefully kind of remember what I was talking about, but there might be a little overlap, and I apologize for that. Have the book done before you launch the Kickstarter page, because people are going to support you. They're gonna back your book, they're gonna put money on this, and then when it closes, they expect your product. So you don't want to be like, yay, we met our goal, now I can start writing this book, and then people be like, what? are you talking about? They don't want to wait. Weeks is okay, months, a couple of months is okay. That's pretty typical on Kickstarter because you do have to print the books and ship them and get them back and then ship them again and blah, 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 the whole process. But you don't want people waiting 6 months or a year because you're still writing. Especially because you have to write, you have to edit, like that's a whole process by itself. So get everything done up front and then launch your Kickstarter so you're ready to go. The other thing is you may have other people you're waiting on. So in my case, I have somebody who did character art for me. I'm still waiting on that character art. I'm supposed to get it tomorrow, which is exciting, but it's still that waiting on that. And so in this situation, I didn't even know if I was gonna do character art. I met this person way late in the game of publishing Grand Mesa Men, so it didn't work out that way. But in the future, I do 100% plan to have like the book done, the artwork done, copies of the extras done. Like go in as prepared as you possibly can so that when it closes, you're worrying about printing and shipping and really not much else. Number 4 is that Kickstarter is really user-friendly, but it takes time. So factor that in to your time frame. You're not gonna get on Kickstarter and make it and launch it the same day. At least I wouldn't recommend doing that. But spend a little time on there, look up books that you like to read, if it's romance or some other genre. There's a ton of people that have really cool dashboards for their books. See what they're doing. And then take the time to write a really compelling dashboard with graphics. I put the playlist for the Grand Mesa Men series on mine. So make it something cool, make it eye-catching, visually appealing, make people want to spend some time there. Make sure you have what the book is about and the descriptions and the tropes and the, you know, all the things. If you think about marketing a book, it's like, what is all of the best parts that you wish you could have out there about your book? Put those on Kickstarter and make it just super visually appealing, because I think that's one of the coolest things about Kickstarter is it really is a place to get pretty books. People go there because they want the special edition copies, they want the foiling and the sprayed edges, and they're looking for something they're not going to pick up walking into a bookstore, they're not going to get off Amazon. There's a uniqueness there in these copies, and so make your dashboard kind of reflect that. And I'm already really excited because I loved the Grand Mesa Men dashboard. I thought it was very cool. I had little videos of the characters. Thank you, Alexis. And just really cool stuff. I was very, very happy with it. But I'm already looking forward to getting to make soul jumpers and getting to do some really fun stuff with that Kickstarter board. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about today is that I highly recommend doing one book at a time. I bit off way more than I could chew, which is why I had such a high goal at $3,000 for like not a well-known author. But I had to cover printing cost. So in August when I do Soul Jumper, that's one book. So my goal will be a lot lower at that point because I won't have to print 10 copies of 5 different books. And so just think about that as well. I probably will never do this again, like where I release a set of something together. It's just too pricey, and I don't like the amount of time it was in between publishing, which I've said before, and I just don't think it's something I'll do again. The logistics of it were not worth it, I don't think. It's cool now. There's a box set. Like, people can have all the books at once. You don't have to wait, even if you read the first one and you want to read the second one. Like, it's there. It's done. So that part's cool. But all the stuff to get here, I don't recommend. And I would have got here regardless if people had to wait a little bit for books 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so if you're going to do a Kickstarter, I'd highly, highly recommend doing it with one book at a time and thinking of ways you can really make that book shine and make it special and make it unique, and something that people aren't going to get anywhere else. So again, really quick, 5 things for Kickstarter. You have to meet your goal. Make sure you're being realistic with your goal. Do the math to figure out what your goal should be. So even if you're like me and you aren't really trying to make a huge profit right out the gate, you're just trying to learn, at least break even so you can pay to print your books with the money you earn on Kickstarter. Share it. Share it with everyone. Share it a lot. Encourage people to click on it. Encourage them to share it. Even if they're not buying your books, them looking at your books helps you. So share it with everyone. If they're in your contact list on your phone, tell them go click on your thing. Tell everyone. Number 3 is have your stuff ready. Have it ready. Have it ready. Have it ready before you launch your Kickstarter. User friendly, but it takes time. That's number 4. So spend time on the dashboard, play around in Kickstarter, go look at other people's pages and just see what it's about. And then I highly recommend one book. One book at a time. Learn that one from me because I don't know what the heck I was thinking. If you have specific questions about Kickstarter, about indie publishing, editing, anything of the sort, please leave me a comment. I would love to do videos where I can answer questions for you guys. You can always email me, shalenabattles@gmail.com, and join my newsletter, shalenabattles.com, and you can get more content like this. See you next time.